You use the phrase creating your soulmate. That's an
Yeah.
unusual phraseology. Why creating?
It's a quote from Osho, and he said that that's tantra is the science of creating your soulmate because you rather than it comes from, Tinkerbell comes along and puts fairy dust on you, you develop yourself in these 7 chakra areas. I know some people that word chakra is like fingernails on a chalkboard, so we could say the different centers. You develop yourself in these different centers and you'll attract someone who's vibrating at the same frequency. So if, for example, I don't know, what's an example? If I'm really low in most women are low in their power center, and most men are lower in their power center because they haven't learned how to be inner powerful without having to do Superman type things. Did that sound offensive?
No, not to me.
And so if you get 2 people who are not developed in their power center and they're in a relationship, and actually I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist too, and we learned that almost everyone in America is stuck on almost all relationships in America are stuck on the power center stage. It's 2 people battling over who has more power. And they're not in their own personal power. That's why the battles were going on. And as soon as either of those people can develop into their own personal power, those power struggles don't exist, because it's inner. Or if people aren't developed, or this common thing you see, which is that somebody's heart center is open and they want to fall in love, but the other person was coming from the first and second, they just wanted to have sex. So that's not a match for ongoing. So what Osho was teaching is that when you can get these centers vibrating, then you'll attract someone at the same vibrational level, and that is a soulmate connection, because we all want to connect on these all different from these different places.
So when Catherine and I met, it was apparent that there was something very deep here, a very strong connection that was unlike anything that we encountered before, either of us. But that didn't mean that we just let it coast because that was a soulmate relationship. In the same way that you work on yourself continually, you need to work on a relationship in order to keep improving it. There is a mainstream idea that when you meet your soulmate, it's just going to happen and everything works out just fine. Well, we have to work on ourselves personally and spiritually. We have to work on our careers. We have to work on our hobbies. Everything needs continuous improvement, and that goes for relationships as well. And sometimes people don't know how to navigate those waters. What is it I can do? Do I follow the rules of mainstream culture, which say that I act this way and this person act that way? Because that's ingrained in a lot of people's minds. The stereotypes have been put out basically by advertising companies to keep us apart, so that we stay unhappy, so that we buy more stuff, have influenced people greatly in at least this culture. So people don't know how to act. Many times they don't know what to say. They don't know what sort of agreements or frameworks they can have in place to foster the further development of a relationship. So that's where we try to help people at that level. We try to determine where they are, where the other person is, and what can you do as a couple, as you've done as individuals, hopefully, to continually work on that dynamic that you call a relationship. That really is, relationship is a frozen thing. It's really the process of relating to one another on an ongoing basis.
Sometimes people think this thing of working on relationships, some big, really difficult drag out process, and it has not been for us. Basically, it's been this process of clearing any miscommunication. What did you mean by that? Still a little upset about this morning, still got some stuff on that. Just this continually making sure the energy is clear, because it's so painful when it's not. And people haven't been taught to really check in, like, we can clear that energy. We can clear that thing. And then it goes back to flowing freely. And that just feels great. That's a soulmate relationship feeling. It's flowing. Oh, I'm feeling a little bit stuck. What is it? Oh, it's that thing I said this morning. I need to clear. I need to apologize for saying that. It's just continually just making sure we're in the present moment with each other. That's a spiritual discipline of sorts.
And most people think that they do that. People say, oh yeah, we talk about things. What most people do is fight until they get tired. We talk things out until we're done, like really done. The charge is gone and there's nothing left to say anymore. And we make sure of that before we move on. And it might pop up again. If it does, we talk about it then.